What's going on, yo? 800-360 here. There's gonna be some off the cuff feelings on the whole Xbox news today. So as you can see on the Twitters, it's a little dicey for them right now. Xbox just shut down. Let's see, Xbox just shut down according to Eurogamer. Xbox today has announced stunning cuts and studio closures affecting a slew of development houses on Bethesda. Redfall and Dishonored, developer Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush and Evil Within developer Tango Gameworks, the Mighty Doom studio Alpha Dogs, and Roadhouse Studios, which I never even heard of. It looks like they are going to be merged with ZeniMax Studios. And, before I kind of start going into this, I just wanted to have this number. I like this number right here. Microsoft spent $7.5 billion to acquire ZeniMax Media. And that was when was that Xbox deal? When did they do that? Let's see. Got dates. It's like 2-3 years ago, something like that. Irregardlessly, they spent $7.5 billion. Now, we all know that Redfall was less than ideal, right? Less than ideal, coming from an established studio like Arcane. These guys did Dishonored 1, they did Dishonored 2. Not my type of game, but, fantastic games nonetheless. I'm pretty sure they did Prey as well. Tango Gameworks, this is a studio that I'm more familiar with, Evil Within. Like, I remember when that game was getting hyped up. I remember looking at all the marketing material, watching all the inside scoops, getting really, really hyped for that game because it was, by Shinji Mikami, right? It seemed like a true to form, like return of that formula that was developed during the Resident Evil 4 days. It was like a return to form in a time when we really didn't have that. I would say, prior to that, again, within that vein was along the lines of Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space, right? Both fantastic games that I love dearly, dearly love. That Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush came out of fucking nowhere. Out of nowhere, y'all. With a shadow drop of the century that almost saved Xbox that year, right? It was a major... It was a major statement. I think when they showed that game off, and it was very reminiscent of like that fun experimental time, back in like the PS2, Xbox GameCube days, right? That's the feeling that I got when I saw Hi-Fi Rush. It was like, wow, they're doing something. It's coming from a studio that did, survival horror game in the past, right? It's coming from a studio that you wouldn't even put this in their wheelhouse, right? And they just went for it, man. And the reviews were good, but I don't think it sold very well. And then we're going back to that $7.5 billion number, right? $7.5 billion. Keep that in the back of your heads. The interesting thing that I find about this is that during the whole ABK acquisition, a lot of the statements were surrounding, Call of Duty, and how that was going to be made exclusive for the Xbox platforms. When in reality, it really kind of seemed like King was like the King studio was like that golden egg. That was the golden goose that Microsoft really, really wanted, right? Because you look at the mobile gaming landscape, and it's fucking insane right now. The amount of money that the mobile gaming landscape is making right now, far supersedes what really AAA gaming is doing. Like, yeah, it's profitable, but when you factor in the budgets, quick Google search, the average cost to build a AAA game with entry-level and mid-level features and functions is between 60 to 80 million. How much does it cost to develop a mobile game? I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I'm not a business guy, but I highly doubt a successful mobile game, a basic one, or even something a little bit more advanced, is going to reach that 60 to 80 million dollar budget, right? And even if you want to put on the higher end, ain't no fucking way it's $100 million. If it is, it is, and I'm wrong, but that seems to be a return on investment. So then when I look over here and I'm seeing that they're shutting down, Roadhouse Studios and Alpha Dog Games, two companies that almost seem very much aligned with that mobile space. It's a little confusing. So it's a little confusing as to what Xbox's game plan is. Looking on my Twitter feed here, a lot of people that I follow are echoing these sentiments. You know what I mean? Right here, this little video clip from Club Row. They got Lionsgate in 2006, shut it down in 2016.
A couple years later, we reflected back on that experience. What did we learn? How do we know to repeat our
sure, like the series of the franchise was kind of not degrading over time, but 2 and 3 didn't quite hit the way that Fable 1 did. But still, I don't know if, again, I'm not a business guy, I don't know if it necessarily warrants the shuttering of the studios. Like, we don't know what's going on behind the closed doors, right? Well, like, it's sad, man. Like, it's really sad, and it's very confusing as to what is Xbox's play here. They got my opinion, my very, very uneducated opinion, sit down and kind of think like, what the fuck are we doing here, y'all? You're taking games and you're putting them over on other platforms, which, I'm not elitist or anything like that. I primarily play on PC, but I have a PS4 Pro, I have a 5, I have a Series X, I have a Switch. Like, I have all these things because I love video games, the medium. I love the stories that they tell. I love the emotions that they bring out, and I love, what is entailed in video games. So I don't really care where the games are. The more people that can play and enjoy games, the better. But I think there's something to be said about having exclusives, right? I think there's something to be said about not the, how do I put it? It's not about the necessity of having some, platforms, some exclusives, some games that you can only get this kind of experience on this place. You look at Sony, you've got God of War, you've got The Last of Us, you've got Spider-Man, and yes, they're going to PC, but within the console space, you can only play those on Sony platforms. You look over at Microsoft, right? You got Halo, awesome, that's great. Halo Infinite, a little rocky at first, but it's a fun game, right? Probably the closest thing to a classic Halo that we've had since 343 took over, and no tea, no shade on them. I liked 4, and 5 was decent for what it was, but those games ain't hitting the way that the original trilogy did, right? They didn't hit the way that Reach did. Gears of War, fuck, there, got the cog symbol on my forearm, right? I love Gears of War. So, like, Xbox has some cool things that's exclusive to them. But when you look at the shuttering of these studios, the closures, right? When you look at the layoffs, And then you look at the fact that Xbox is kind of in last place. They've been in last place. They've been in last place since the Xbox One PS4 era. And they made all of these massive investments, right? And where's the fruits of the labor, man? Like, where are the payoffs here? Like, okay, Psychonauts 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, Microsoft Flight Simulator, like all fun games within their respective niches, right? But what's the end game here, man? What's the end game? What are we doing? You know, it's very disheartening to see, a company and a platform, not even the company, right? Because, like, I mean, fuck the companies. The companies, their business, they're here to make money. That's all they want to do. These guys aren't, they're not our friends, right? They're businessmen. They're businessmen that are handling billions and billions of dollars and are beholden to the people that have put them in positions of power. So they're not our friends, right? But as a consumer and as the lover of video games and the lover of this medium and this platform, it's very disheartening to see, experimentation be rewarded with shutting down. It's very disheartening to see, people lose their jobs over, I don't know if it's mismanagement. I don't know if it's just, hey guys, this is the state of the economy. This is where we're at. Sorry. It's very disheartening to see the medium that, you and I love being slowly chipped away at. Because that's what this is. When you look over, let's see. And this is going beyond the whole Xbox thing, right? But video game industry layoffs. Video game layoffs, right? This is just in 2024, right? This is back what's happening, so whatever. But let's see here. We've got a bunch of, I don't know about Bossa, but Unity, I'm guessing that's like the Unity engine, maybe. Twitch, Discord, Lost Boys, I don't know about Lost Boys, Pixelberry, Nice Speed Games, blah blah behavior. I've heard of them. CI Games. These look like small things, right? But Riot Games, 530 people. People Can Fly, 30 plus people. The whole concept, the whole thing that's been happening with People Can Fly. The creators of Outriders, that in and of itself is, really shitty out there. I don't even think they've even turned a profit on that game yet. Microsoft, 1,900, and I don't think that takes into account today, probably not. Yeah, no. But that was, they acquired Activision Blizzard, and there were layoffs. And now, granted, when you do an acquisition of that size, like, yeah, there's going to be crossover. There's going to be positions and there's going to be departments that are rendered moot because, they're just necessities of the business. And when you put two companies together, well, you don't need one of them, right? So you reallocate them or furlough or, you lay them off. Eidos Montreal going. I think the point stands that this is just in 2024, right? And I'm still scrolling, still going. James Sager, I don't know about Sager. Point being that the budgets are ballooning to points where if you do not turn a profit, if you do not make money with your product, you are on the chopping block. Unless you are tenured. But even at that, right? Even at that, Arcane Austin was a tenured studio. they had one dud, man. It's one dud. Like, when you really look at the grand scheme of things, it's one dud. It was a big dud. Xbox was kind of banking on Redfall. But then it's like, okay, hey, where's the quality assurance on that game? Where were the check-ins? Like, what were we doing? Why were we not taking this product so that we were putting, all of our eggs in? Why were we not trying to get it to be the best thing that it possibly could? You can't sit there and tell me that on release, Redfall was the best that it could have been. Ain't no fucking way. Sure, it came out that I don't think the developers were very happy with the product and didn't really want to continue working on it. I don't even think they wanted to bring it to market. But, where was the guidance, right? Where was the enabling for Microsoft there? And it kind of brings me to like the point of, Microsoft is heavily relying on Game Pass. And I like Game Pass. Game Pass is great for me. I Game Pass Ultimate subscriber. I use it on my PC. I use it on my console. It's a great way to try games, but typically for me, whenever I play a game on Game Pass that I really like, I'll end up buying that game. Right. So for me, it's good for, trials or whatever. But for some people out there who don't have the expendable income to buy, new games every week, every month, whatever, it's a great deal. But is it sustainable? I don't know. I don't have the numbers. I'm not a fly on the wall in these business meetings. I would love to be. I'd really love to be. I'd really love to know what the fuck they're doing. I'd love to sit down and be like, hey, Phil, what's the game plan here, buddy boy? It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, the state of the industry and specifically the state of Xbox, because this is a platform and this is a company that I love, right? I loved ever since I was a kid. I remember it was my birthday. It was my birthday. And opening, it was the bundle. It was the original Xbox bundle with 2 controllers, had the media remote, and I got Halo Combat involved with it. It was like Prince of Persia Warrior Within, something like that. But I remember opening that up and Halo Combat involved right there, dude, and I was fucking stoked. Right, I was so stoked, and I've been with Xbox ever since. I pre-ordered 360. I had that shit on day one. Xbox One I got pretty soon after release. I think I got an Xbox before I got a PS4. So I've always loved this brand. I've always loved the stories that this brand can tell. And at one point, it looked like Xbox was kind of on the right course to delivering those great experiences that they did in that first, console cycle. But now it's like, what are we doing? That's all I got.